Alex Nylander signs a 1-year AHL deal. Important to stress that. He signs with the Marlies. He's 26, 121 career NHL games, has 25 goals, and of course, an 8th overall pick in 2016. But a family reunion, Rosie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 8th overall, like what a monster pick, right? And hasn't really panned out anywhere he's gone. But you look at his numbers, and they're not bad at all. Like, I mean, if you're comparing them to other 8th overall picks, maybe not as much, but capable of playing. I know he got hurt there in 2020, 2021. I don't think he even played with a rough knee injury there in the playoffs of 2020. So missed a whole season, missed a step. But the point is, this cost the Maple Leafs absolutely nothing. An American Hockey League contract. Are you kidding me? For a former 8th rounder, there's the Nylander angle. Obviously, his brother's there. But if you need a guy or want to try a guy out, or we run into injury problems, which happens to teams all the time, there's a cheap guy that is potentially capable to, who knows, explode, like really find his stride. I mean, it's kind of a long shot to say that will or could happen, but these things do happen, and he's right there, in the pocket on the Marlies. I think he'll be a great asset for them, obviously. But again, if we run into trouble, bodies and whatnot, there's a guy that you could give a shot to and see what happens, because obviously he had the sky being the limit for him as far as his potential in the NHL. Hasn't quite filled it, but is still young, 26 years old. Another shot for him here in Toronto, and I kind of hope he gets a look.
Low risk, high reward. It reminds me a lot of the Kiefer Bellows situation from last year, although, again, he had an AHL contract. So if Nylander were to play in the NHL, they got to figure out an NHL deal. But I think the big kicker here is what happened after he was traded from Pittsburgh to Columbus around last year's trade deadline, where he picked up 11 goals, 15 points in 23 games. He had some spurt. I know I cover fantasy hockey, a 2-week spurt where he scored 6 or 7 goals. And that's why I think there's the intrigue. People like you feel maybe there's another step in his career, and maybe, he found it a bit in Columbus, and people were stunned that Columbus moved on, and effectively 32 NHL teams passed on Alex Nylander, and that's why he'll find himself in the American Hockey League. But again, who knows? Maybe reuniting with his brother in the same organization gets him to that next step. But a big thing with him has been finding consistency at the NHL level. I think to a degree he has proven the ability to produce, but like most players of that threshold on the periphery of the NHL, they struggle to find consistency.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys where, are you going to take your brother's job? No, you're not. You're not playing on that line. You're not getting those minutes. So what can you do with what you get in the NHL? He's probably going to be, a front runner on the Marlies, put up some points, try to develop his game, but then you step up to that NHL level, and he's kind of, when you talk about Nick Robertson, he's had trouble coming up and staying consistent. So what can you do to stay in the league? Obviously, you're a skill guy, but you're just, at this point in time, until something very drastic happens, you're not going to go take your brother's spot in the lineup. So what can you do on that third line, on that fourth line? Can you put up some points? Can you find some jam with somebody? Can you get a look with a couple other guys and just move your way up the depth chart? Very difficult to do, but you got to find all those little intangible things. If you get a chance to prove that I need to be in this lineup and I'm a big benefit to this team for all these reasons, and if you can do that, then you can start trying to find your consistency and putting up the real points and seeing what you can make of it. But a tall task, no doubt, and he's not the only guy who finds himself in that position.
That's exactly it. I mean, it's typical Toronto, and maybe because of the name brand, people are overhyping this addition. But I think it can't be understated again. Just the second half or post deadline run he had, granted with a lowly Columbus Blue Jackets team, but every time that happens, the next GM's like, what if? And I think specifically, as you mentioned in Toronto, there's opportunity. Yeah, he's not going to start in the NHL, but there's certainly opportunity. There could be movement. And I think if Nylander produces and finds a way to make a difference and be a storyline, then they're going to have to do something about it. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.